All right, welcome to the second half hour of Leading the Charge. And as I say, welcome to the second half hour. And look at the clock. We're 6 minutes into the second half an hour. My bad on timing things. That's I was going to say. That is very much on brand. Right, I was going to say. We really cater to the people that we have here. We're streaming online. Obviously, if you're watching us on TV, we hope you continue with us for the next 24 minutes or so. It's the Bills. It's the Broncos. As the games are playing out yesterday and we find out it's Denver, what were your initial thoughts of, okay, it's the Broncos coming to town. This is who the Bills got to beat in the wild card to get to where they're trying to go. You think it's a good matchup for the Bills? You think it's a little concerning, or do you think like, whoa, this is a really tough one?
I think it's the best of what they could have hoped for of the potential playoff paths in the first round, because, you know, even though the Steelers have lost 4 in a row, I still think they're a pretty good team with a good defense that would give them a tough game. Yeah. Chargers, I don't think the Bills would have wanted anything to do with them. Yeah. Bengals certainly on a heater, went from 4-8 to 9-8. Yeah. Joe Burrow just throwing a passing touchdown every play basically to Jamar Chase. And the Dolphins, it's very tough to beat a team 3 times in a row within one season. So I think with the Broncos, getting a rookie quarterback, getting a team that is kind of punching above their weight this year and defying some of their expectations from early in the season, I think that, to me, it's a potential like maybe mini trap if you don't take them too lightly, which is why I think Sean McDermott really took a big.
They're great.
He was. They're
great.
He was really.
That was the message today. They're the Bo Nix is it.
Yeah, he was really talking them up today, and I think that was intentional. Yeah. So yes, I think the Broncos are. The term I used earlier was the path of least resistance.
Yeah, I'm good with it. Like I said, my number one goal going into the weekend was just not Cincinnati. And then they won, so I was a little bit nervous. But, man, once I started watching them, sorry, I didn't mean to drool on myself, but once I started watching the Broncos-Chiefs game, I mean, I don't know who was playing for Kansas City, but holy smokes, I think it was a high school team. Yeah. So you knew after the first quarter it was going to be Denver. The only thing that I thought twice about with Miami is how bad – well, first off, you wouldn't have known if Tua was going to play or not if it was Huntley. The Bills played Skylar Thompson a few years ago. Miami's offense is a train wreck. So that's the only thing. I like Nix. I like Sutton. I think they have a good offensive line. I think there's some good pieces. That's the only thing I thought of, Matt, is that Miami was really just a mess towards the end of the season, and now some of their stars are asking out. That's the only moment I thought, maybe, but I think this is a good matchup.
What I think that I'm struggling with a little bit is that I was watching the games yesterday. We talked about this when you got here today. I'm watching the games yesterday, and you see them put up 38 points. I know it's against backups, but you're like, whoa, like Bo Nix threw more touchdowns than he had incomplete passes.
May I interject?
You can.
Joe Milton just put up 23 points on the Bills.
Right.
Yesterday.
Yeah. Right.
I think that.
They're going to trade Derek May, or they're going to trade May now.
Yeah.
No, don't forget it.
I know.
The game didn't happen. They didn't have their best players at all 3 levels on defense playing in the game.
Yes. I know. I mean, it's fair. We've already got a ton of questions. It is incredible how quickly people get to Tyler Bass. But like 4 of the questions here are about Tyler Bass. I hope the game doesn't come down to a field goal because I have no confidence in Bass. How much of a concern is Tyler Bass? Should we be concerned about Tyler Bass? I mean, these are all completely valid questions because think about last year in the playoffs. A kick that Tyler Bass has to make, and he misses. Now, I'll say this. I think the Broncos are a sneaky tough matchup, and it's going to be a close game. If it comes down to a field goal, then you don't deserve. You're not a good enough team to go to the Super Bowl and win the Super Bowl. Yeah. If it's coming down to a field goal against the Denver Broncos in the wild card game at home.
I don't know that that's true.
I mean, I understand that games are close. I understand that. You want your kicker.
Stuff happens.
Weird stuff happens for sure. I mean, I kind of agree with everybody though. Like, I don't know if you just tell me right now, you're down 2, and he's going to make a 40-yard kick for the win. Would you sign up for that? I don't know if Bills fans would feel that way.
A 40-yarder?
You want a 50-yard?
How about a 39?
No, he's right. I didn't even look at his stats. I looked at his stats today. First off, his field goals this year is exactly the same as last year, 24 of 29. But if you look at his numbers, his 40 to 49, it's the worst percentage of his career. He was 7 of 11. Yeah. He was 4 of 4, 50 plus.
Yeah, because there's no
under 40 and 50 and above. You're good.
You want to know 49 was his issue throughout the summer.
7 of 11. And he missed 5 extra points. He's never missed that many extra points.
Because there's no pressure on the 50-yarders because if you miss them, nobody's like, you have to make that kick. But you expect to make the 40-yard. Yeah. All right, we're going to go to a quick break. There are questions about Brandon Codrington. We will answer those during the commercial break. All right, welcome back. Question from Daniel.
I'd hope so.
I would hope so. I would hope so. That is in regards to Amari Cooper. He has not been with the team the last couple of days. Sean McDermott says he hopes that he will be back with them at some point this week dealing with a family matter. Daniel just commented on Facebook. Can you speak to the lack of production in the tight end position? Why? Now, about 10 minutes ago, I said that I think they're trying to save Dalton Kincaid a little bit. And you said they've been trying to save him for like 16 months or so. But it is a very valid question. Why are the tight ends not more going into the season? You saw what we thought our predictions for the year would be. I would have almost guaranteed that he led the Bills in catches this season.
See, I was on the opposite side of that.
Yeah, you told me that at a training camp.
Because of Dawson Knox.
Yeah.
And no one in the fantasy football community believed me about it.
I did it. I was wrong.
Kincaid was like the fashionable pick where he's going to lead the team because of the receiver overall.
Yes, but they love Dawson Knox. They want to get him on the field.
He was good last year.
Yes, but they love Dawson Knox.
And what happened to the whole we love two tight ends?
Well, that's kind of gone to the wayside. They still do it
went with Ken Dorsey.
Yeah. Kincaid can't block. That's his biggest issue. And they want to be a balanced
Mac Hollins
offense.
is on the field.
Mac Hollins is out there a bunch. Amari Cooper isn't really that great of a blocker. Dawson Knox can block, and he blocks very well, and he's done a good job of it this year. So even though his stats have been down, Kincaid's stats have been down, I would say they're pretty happy with the tight end position and what they've gotten from it this year.
I just feel like they need some. The playoffs are always about like who's going to step up, like what player that you weren't expecting to. I actually like this comment from Mike. He said, I think this might be another big game for 26. I tend to agree. I feel like this is a game where if you get the running backs involved in the passing game, that could go a long way. And it feels like Ty Johnson. I mean, there have been games when Ty Johnson has more snaps than James Cook.
There's been a lot of games of that.
Yeah.
Ty Johnson, it's funny, I wrote this in a certain way. I think you can almost call Ty Johnson the 1B because he is out there every single third down.
A lot.
He is out there every single pass end of half situation in for James Cook. James Cook is only out there on first and second downs and when they're short yardage situations. So if Ty Johnson is getting almost as many snaps as James Cook pretty much every week, that's a 1A, 1B situation.
We got a fashion comment from Carlton. Would you like to comment on fashion? It's not our fashion. It's the Bills' fashion.
Thank God.
It says,
I thought for sure.
Please don't wear the white jerseys anymore. Winless in the whites this year. I haven't fact-checked that, if that's true. But what I wanted to say is, how gorgeous are those Broncos jerseys that they wore yesterday? The orange ones are so nice.
For someone who grew up in the 70s watching the NFL, that's their jersey. The orange jersey with the blue helmets, with that logo. I love those.
Yeah, there's an aura about those jerseys, and now they're going to go to those gross, like, white jerseys with the navy helmets.
With the mountains.
With, the weird. It's a massive downgrade. So for that reason alone, I could see them just.
Fun fact, when they came out with those jerseys, I texted Matt and my buddy and said, hey, and this was before the draft, I said, hey, these jerseys we're drafting Bo Nix.
Here we are. And here we are.
So what is the Bills' best uni combo, in your opinion, to wear this Sunday?
I'm not the one to ask for this.
So it's the blue. It is the blue jersey with the white pants. Their traditional home jersey is the best combination they have, and I quite frankly think they should never wear a red jersey again. But that's just my opinion on it.
You don't like the Pat the Patriot look?
No, I don't like that. All right, we have to actually go to a commercial break. We're going to be right back. All right, welcome back. I said that I was going to save Nick's question for the next segment, so here we go. What are the keys, both on offense and defense, to get a win in Sunday's game? Now, I know you haven't watched the tape yet.
Thank you.
But I do want, just in general terms, like, is there a thing that you think could be the difference maker for the Bills, or a reason that they should be concerned?
Should I do the stat again? Third down defense.
Third down defense is the reason you're concerned.
Okay.
Obviously.
That's good. You can do that.
The third down defense it needs to be in check for them. If they want to keep the Broncos out of it completely, it's something that they need to rectify, because over their last 4 games that have mattered, Patriots, this past game notwithstanding, they have allowed 9.9 yards per attempt on 35 attempts on third downs against the Rams, Lions, Patriots, and Jets from weeks 14 through 17. 9.9 yards per attempt. That's not 9.9 yards per completion.
Yeah.
That's including the incompletions.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy. Anything particular you want to point to?
Yes. Offensive line, as Joe has pointed out numerous times, has had an outstanding season. You better continue that Sunday at 1. Josh Allen is going to be under siege. Nick Bonito has 13.5 sacks. Jonathan Cooper, 10.5 sacks. Zach Allen, 8.5 sacks. John Franklin Myers, who you might remember from the Jets, 7 sacks. They have 63 sacks. They have about a 40% pressure rate. They get after quarterbacks. They can destroy people. You got to make sure you give Josh Allen time to throw the ball. Of course, we know Josh can avoid sacks anyway. He's really good at it. But that, to me, is what I'd be worried about. Their defensive front, pass rush against the Bills.
Yeah, it's interesting because it's a great unit going up against a great unit. But the one thing that I keep thinking too, I'm obviously, and the season is the evidence here, I'm much more confident in the Bills offense than I am in the Bills defense.
Oh, yeah.
They've got Josh Allen as their quarterback.
Yep.
But
the line played really well.
Broncos, they get after the quarterback. Bills are good at not letting you get, to them and play some man coverage. And it's like, okay, you want to play man coverage on Josh Allen?
And they did play the third highest percentage of man coverage this season.
You remember when we were getting ready for the Jaguars game because it was on Channel 7, we had like a pregame show and we were talking about man coverage and it's like, hey, you really sure you want to play man coverage against the Bills?
And they did.
They did. And they scored 30. I'm not saying this will happen, but the Bills scored 35 points in the first half of that game. I mean, that's the X factor,
they have
right?
Denver has good corner.
Right. And they do. Pat Surtain is maybe the best defensive player in the NFL. But what we see from Josh Allen in the playoffs, we've seen it a little bit more this year, kind of sooner. It's like, you want to play man coverage? You want to turn your back? Josh going to go. He's going to run. And then you're going to be giving up 8-9 yards of carry to the Bills quarterback, and he's going to keep on doing it until you stop. And then the minute you stop, he's going to be like, all right, Khalil Shakir, 7-yard game. Boom. So it's interesting because stylistically it's a pretty unique matchup for the Bills. But obviously, they're a playoff team, so they're good. All right, we got one segment left. We're going to take a quick break on the TV side of things, answer a couple more questions, and we'll be right back. All right, welcome back. Final segment, leading the charge as we get ready for this Broncos game on Sunday. I do want to let you know that if you've enjoyed this, we are going to do a special edition of Leading the Charge on Thursday at 7 o'clock. It'll only be a half an hour, but we hope you can join us for that. What player is the biggest difference maker for the game on Sunday besides Josh Allen? So you said you talked about the playoffs as a whole, Matt Milano, Greg Rousseau. Yeah. Anybody you want to highlight specifically for this game?
Probably Rousseau, honestly, just because I think if you can get pressure on Bo Nix, he doesn't really do much intermediate throwing. It's
boomer
deep or short.
Yeah.
And I think the Bills and how they approach their defensive structure is wanting to get you to throw it underneath, pass funneling underneath so they can go out and tackle. So if they can get some pressure on Bo Nix with Greg Rousseau, then I think that will go a long way.
I know what you said about Ty Johnson, but I'm still going to go with James Cook as an X factor.
Yeah.
I mean, Josh is obvious. I don't know that there's anybody in the receiving corps you'd say, Shakir or Coleman, whoever is going to jump out and have a monster game. That's really not who that group is.
Yeah.
I'll say James Cook.
I am very interested in playoff Christian Benford. I feel like Christian Benford is so good, and now not getting like the Pro Bowl recognition that we thought he might get. That dude already has a chip on his shoulder. I feel like we might see some really exceptional play.
He also had a week of rest too.
Yeah, we got time. We got to go. Thank you so much for watching this episode of Leading the Charge. We'll keep going until the Bills season ends. We'll see you guys on Thursday. Have a great week and enjoy the game on Sunday. Welcome to the playoffs, everyone.